Woke up this morning feeling kinda blue. A little sad, but I know just what to do. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh. I have learned that I can go to Jesus. He lifts me up whenever I need it. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh. When I'm worried, when I'm feeling down, that's when God comes through, turns it all around. Yeah, He gives me joy in every situation, keeps my spirits high, no matter what I'm facing. Oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh, whoa. I'm feeling better, God made all the difference. He's always here to listen. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh. He is my source, the one who gives me life. He is my God and He's good all the time. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh. When I'm worried, when I'm feeling down, that's when God comes through, turns it all around. Yeah, He gives me joy in every situation, keeps my spirits high, no matter what I'm facing. Oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh, whoa. When I'm worried, when I'm feeling down, that's when God comes through and turns it all around. Yeah, He gives me joy in every situation, keeps my spirits high, no matter what I'm facing.
You guys are here! Welcome back to Challenge Accepted. I'm so glad you're here because I have to tell you what I've been doing all weekend. I have been trying to learn how to hit a baseball with a bat. However, I haven't been able to find a baseball, so I've been using this hacky sack. And I wasn't able to find a bat, so I've been using this plunger. Now, it's never been used, but it's still pretty difficult to hit the ball with this bat. Now, I have been practicing all weekend and I still haven't been able to hit it once. It is a real challenge. Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm getting a text message from Callie. Callie says that she has some really good news to tell us. Well, that's good because I haven't been feeling great. I've been feeling a little defeated that I can't hit this. Well, do you guys want to hear from Callie? I wonder what her good news is. Let's check it out right now. Let's hear what Callie has to tell us for today.
Hey friends! I have some great news. I don't have to wear the cast on my arm anymore. I feel so much better. It was removed yesterday after lots and lots of care from my mom, my doctor, and lots of rest. So now I can play softball again. Yay! And guess what? I have a friend over today, Cadence.
Hi everyone!
I'm super excited Cadence is here because now I can play the games that I love to play. For example, I have this super duper challenge for you.
A challenge?
I know you pretty well, so I have a feeling that you're going to enjoy this challenge.
Bring it on!
Oh my! You sound ready!
I'm always up for a challenge. What is it?
So, have you ever heard of egg and spoon?
I know what an egg is and I know what a spoon is. What is this challenge?
The rules are, you have an egg on a spoon and you're supposed to walk across the room without the egg falling off the spoon. Except, we're going to use a ball instead of an egg because my mom would not be happy about me dropping an egg on the floor.
That sounds easy.
But you can't hold the ball and the spoon with the other hand.
I have to put the ball on a spoon and then walk?
Yep, and your other hand has to be behind your back.
That sounds hard.
So, do you accept this challenge?
Fine. Challenge accepted.
you really wanted to use 2 hands instead of 1. I think today's Bible story will tell us a little bit about saying no to things we're not supposed to do. Wanna listen to the Bible story with me?
Absolutely. I could use a break after the challenge.
It's time for our Bible story. Today we will learn another amazing story about Jesus.
Great.
In this story, Jesus is tempted to do things that were wrong.
What does tempted mean?
Tempted is when we want to do something really bad, but it's not the right thing to do.
Like what?
Maybe take a cookie that your mom told you not to take. You really want to listen, but you really love cookies too.
Oh yes, that happens a lot.
So Jesus was tempted not to eat cookies, but he was in the desert where it was very hot and dry. The desert was covered in sand and rocks.
For how long?
Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, and he didn't have anything to eat. Jesus was tired and also very hungry.
Why didn't he eat something?
Jesus chose to go without food so he could only focus on talking to God.
Oh, I see.
Jesus knew that God was preparing him to do something great, so he needed to get ready. Soon, the devil came along and tried to trick Jesus. The devil is an old enemy of Jesus who kept trying to make Jesus do bad things. First, the devil tried to get Jesus to turn stones into bread. Jesus was really hungry, and he could have done it, but Jesus said no.
Great job, Jesus.
It didn't stop there. Second, the devil took Jesus up to a really high place in the city. The devil tried to tempt Jesus again to jump and make angels catch him. Jesus said no. Jesus knew the devil was trying to trick him. So the devil tried to tempt Jesus a 3rd time. This time, the devil told Jesus that he would give him all sorts of treasures if Jesus would stop obeying God and started obeying the devil.
I know how this ends. Jesus told the devil no.
You got it. After that time, the devil left Jesus alone. And do you remember those angels that the devil tried to get Jesus to call on? They came and took care of Jesus after that.
Because Jesus obeyed God?
That's right. Jesus could have done all the things that the devil told him to do. But Jesus knew that's not what God wanted him to do. So even though he was tired, hungry, and very weak, Jesus said no to the devil and said yes to God.
That story reminded me of the challenge you just gave me.
Really?
Yes, the game was a bit tough, and I had to use 1 hand, but I did it.
That's a great point. You were tempted to use your other hand, but you didn't though. Sometimes I need help when I'm tempted to do something that I shouldn't.
Me too. One time I found a really cool toy at school, and I wanted to keep it, but it wasn't the right thing to do.
Cadence, that was the best choice. Something like that happened to me too. I'm so glad Jesus helps me when I'm tempted.
Jesus makes us big and strong. I think it's your turn to do the challenge.
I thought you'd never ask. Challenge accepted. Catch you next time, friends. Okay, let's do this.
Wow, thanks, Callie. That looked like a fun challenge you guys did, and I'm so glad that your arm is feeling all better. Now, kids, did you hear about that story that she told us? No, she didn't tell us the story. Some guy told us. Woo! Thanks, Callie. That looked like a fun challenge you guys did, and I'm so glad that your arm is feeling all better. Hey, kids, did you hear that story that we're learning about today? It was all about how Jesus was tempted in the desert. Now, let's hear more about that story. Now, when Jesus entered the desert, it was hot and it was dry and he was all alone. He stayed in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and he fasted. Fasting is when you don't eat anything at all for an amount of time. And Jesus didn't eat anything for 40 days and 40 nights. That's crazy. He chose not to eat any food so that he could focus on spending time with God and praying instead. Now, after 40 days, Jesus was so hungry. Can you imagine how hungry you would be? And then that's when the devil decided to go and talk to him. Now, Now, he tried to convince Jesus to turn stones into bread. He did this because he wanted Jesus to admit that eating food and listening to the devil was more important than spending time with God. But did Jesus do it? No way. Now, after the devil's first try at tempting Jesus, he brought him to the holy city and had him stand up really high up. And he tried to convince him to give up or to show off. But Jesus used the Bible, God's own words, to resist the temptation. But the temptation didn't stop there. The devil told Jesus to look over everything and asked him to bow down to him and he could have everything he wanted. But Jesus again used God's own words, the Bible, and resisted and overcame the temptation. Now, this is like if you really wanted a cookie and your grown-up said, no, you can't have one. And then someone else came up to you and said, not only will I give you a cookie, but I will give you an entire cookie factory so you can have as many cookies as you can eat. That's a big temptation. However, you would know that you're breaking a promise and disobeying your grown-up and getting a lot more than you need of something that's not very good for you. Too many sweets. So Jesus resisted and he said, no, I listen to God, not to you. And he overcame the temptation. Jesus was strong. Even when he was weak and hungry, he knew that he had to listen to what God told him. And he resisted all of these temptations, which were big temptations, because he knew that God knew what was right, that God would show him the way, even when it was difficult. And because Jesus faced this temptation and overcame it, the devil ran away and the angels took care of him. It shows us that Jesus understands when we face big temptations, when we face challenges, and it helps us show that Jesus will help us overcome them. Jesus will help us overcome temptation even when it's difficult. This is just like our Bible point for today says. Can you say our Bible point with me? It says, Jesus helps me when I'm tempted. Say it again. Jesus helps me when I'm tempted. Good job. You know, temptation is kind of like baseball. You have to hit the ball by swinging the bat. If you don't swing the bat, you can't hit the ball. That's what I've been doing all weekend. Watch. Ready? Here we go. Didn't really go anywhere, did it? Because I didn't swing the bat. But that's kind of like what temptation is. When temptation comes at us, it's our job to not swing the bat. It's our job to stand firm and to not go into that temptation. Seems a little backwards for a game of baseball, but Jesus tells us to not give in to temptation, to be strong, and that we don't have to go to temptation when it comes to us. We don't have to make those wrong choices when they're presented to us. Now, it can be hard because as humans, we aren't as strong as Jesus. We're not God. We're not perfect. So that's why Jesus promises to help us when we face that temptation. When it seems so much easier to do the wrong choices, when it seems easier to lie than to tell the truth, when it seems easy enough to just steal a cookie when our grown-up says no because we really want one, Jesus helps us see the truth and he helps us overcome that temptation. You know, the main way that Jesus helped overcome the temptation from the devil was by using scripture. He used God's own words from the Bible to overcome all the temptation that the devil was presenting him and to find the truth. Now that is a little bit why we memorize memory verses at church, because Jesus had all of those verses memorized in his head and in his heart so he could see what God wanted him to do. It's the same thing for us. When we memorize the Bible in our heads and in our hearts, it helps us reveal what God wants us to do. So, speaking of which, let's practice our memory verse right now. All right, let's practice our memory verse now. Now, it starts with a big shrug and the word who. Are you ready? Let's do it all together. Who is it that overcomes the world? Only the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. 1 John 5, verse 5. Good job. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to practicing my baseball swing. If there's anything I've learned from Challenge Accepted this month, it's to not give up when things get hard. Now, we are going to do another song while I go and practice with this baseball equipment. So, stand up, let's do another song, and we'll see you next week. Bye!